Hey, hey, happy holiday weekend. All right, I wanted to come live today because I want to let you know that you can buy a house right now. And any of you buyers out there that got discouraged a few months ago and you were like, I can't buy anything, it's multiple offers, it's this, it's that. I am here to tell you, you can buy a house today. Million percent. Do you know that I'm getting 4 to 5 and some days up to 10 flyers a day from agents on price reductions? So, what does that mean? It means that we've seen a shift, a pivot in the market. That means that the supply is no longer lower than the demand. It seems to be leveling out. Houses are staying on the market a little bit longer now. I don't love, won't lie, being a listing agent. But I just want to encourage you that if you're out there right now, like don't let what you're hearing in the news stop you. I'm here to tell you, you can buy a house. You can go out there, get with your agent, get with me, get with somebody on my team. Um, you know, I'll probably, I'm actually representing some buyers right now, and and we're getting stuff under contract. It's not hard. Very seldom are you in multiples. Every once in a while, if you're in a super hot area, if you're in central Austin, or if a house has been severely underpriced to drive multiple offers, maybe then. But just have your agent check out what the offers should be, right? Have them check out, like if the house is priced at 350. I'm just giving you an example, but your agent runs the comps, and the house is worth 400 all day long. Well, then that's what they're trying to get to, right? So they're going to try to get 15 people to think that they can buy it at 350, and all those 15 people are going to do is drive it up to 4.25 versus 400, right? So go in with a good offer, a reasonable at market offer ahead of time, know that you cannot buy a house that's in good shape, right? That's worth 400 grand. Have your realtor do a CMA that's worth $400,000. You're not going to buy it for 350 in this market. But if you do it right and you go in with the right kind of offer ahead of time, right? You can trump out some of those bottom feeders, and you can go in with the right offer ahead of time, and you go in at the $400,000, you can buy a house. Interest rates, they're bouncing around a little bit. 5.25, 5.5, they're down a little bit from 6, so that's good. But you know what? JT, my son, closed his first house today. I was so excited. I got to represent him. And we were sitting there at closing, and his dad and I were sitting there talking about the fact that our first house was at 7.75 interest. All right. That was back in 1990. So our first house was at 7.75. I mean, big deal. Don't worry about the interest rate. Okay. That's just cost of funds. And you get to write all that off anyways, right? Now's the time. I would rather pay a little bit higher cost of funds because refinances are real. Something's going to happen, like we'll have an election or something. Don't hate me. Something's going to happen, and interest rates will come down back down at some point. So if you can buy the house cheaper, and maybe you have to have a higher carrying cost for 2 years, then but then you can refinance it, right? So you can go buy a house now. What does this user say? I did predict that my entry into real estate would find me standing there looking bewildered, yet saying nothing, just letting it happen. Huh. Okay. I don't see who that is. Give me a name. It just says Facebook user. So, anyways, I just want y'all to know that, okay? You can go buy a house. So if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're sitting in the cheap seats and you're like, because one of the reasons my son went and bought a house is because his rent went up, I think, $800 in his apartment. So the rents are still going up, right? Because they are. And the prices are coming down. What does that mean to you? It means you need to go buy a house. It means you need to call me. You need to call somebody on my team if you're in Texas. Anywhere in the country. I've got teammates all over the country, but you can go buy a house right now, and you can actually, oh, Robert Brooker. Okay. You must be coming in on one of my other feeds, Robert. That's why I'm not seeing your name. But you can absolutely 1,000,000% go buy a house right now. And it's almost back to kind of a normal level, which I'm super grateful for. Right. I mean, I had buyers that were fatigued. They were just like, Lisa, I don't want to do this anymore. And I almost didn't want to do it anymore for them. I felt bad for them. Like every time they'd lose a deal, they'd lose a house. I mean, they'd be devastated. But I'm just here to tell you. So by these interest rates driving up a tad, it's getting sellers into in a little more realistic mindset. So you can absolutely 1,000,000% go out there and buy a house. So step one, call me. And if you don't live around me or you don't live around here, oh, you're still in Toronto, Canada. Okay. But if you don't live around here, then call me and I'll even recommend you a great realtor. Um, Number two, when you go and you look at houses, all right, see what the pricing strategy, talk to your realtor about what the pricing strategy is of that listing agent. Are they pricing it realistically to market? Are they pricing it below market to drive multiple offers? So let's just say that they're in that below market to drive multiple offers situation. Then you want to ask your realtor, step two, do a CMA, a current market analysis on this property, on this neighborhood. And if it's priced $20 per square foot and the comps say that it should be, let's just say it was priced at 300 a square foot, but the comps say it should be priced at 320 a square foot. What are comps? They're properties that have sold in the last 60 days, 90 days, within a quarter-mile radius of a like property. Okay? There are no deals to be had right now. Don't kid yourself. But what there is the fact that you're able to actually pick up a house at list price. And there are a few. I put a contract in this morning. Now, this is not the norm, just so you know. But I put a contract this morning in at 100 grand under on a house. And I think that we'll get it at about 50 under. I had to start the game somewhere, right? I had to start the negotiating somewhere for my client. And I do think that the seller will come in at about 50. I think that we'll meet in the middle. I think that might have been my strategy going into it. Maybe. So anyways, so that being said, find out what the house is worth. Now, why did I go 100 on this other house? Numero uno, overpriced. Number two, 58 days on the market. Okay. So both of those things tell me, so when I run the comps, they were unrealistic for the condition of the house and the age of the house. And they've been sitting on the market for 58 days. So at 58 days, sellers start to kind of get nervous. They kind of start getting restless and they're kind of ready to start moving on, right? So that's why I went in with that strategy, because I knew I wasn't going to I don't think I'm going to get bumped out in another offer. It's been on the market for 58 days. So why not go for the gusto for my clients? And I do think that we'll end up meeting somewhere close to the middle, and that's okay. So, it's really just about what is your strategy going into the deal. I talk about strategy. I teach about strategy. I only work strategy when I'm working a deal with somebody. What is the strategy? Every house has a story. Every listing has a story. Every listing has a strategy, whether the realtor even knew that they were doing a strategy or not, but they do. Okay. They've either got the strategy of the seller's unrealistic and they have you listing it at a price that you don't really like listing it for, but that's what the seller wants to do. I've been there. Or they're going with the strategy, I want to bring the seller 25 offers, so I'm going to go in 50 grand under. I've never done that. I won't lie to you guys. I hate that strategy. I absolutely hate it. I think coming in 10% under, I think it's a pretty good strategy. But anyways, to each his own. But that being said, like if you have just been sitting on the sidelines and you're like, oh God, the world's coming to an end, what am I going to do? First of all, these rates are not going back down until there's a change in guard. So they're not going to go back down. They're just not. So don't let that stop you from buying a house, because what I will tell you is rents are going up. They're going up like crazy, crazy, crazy. So you want to go ahead and you want to get into the game. I mean, you want to get into the game now. And the only way to get into the game now is to buy a house. So you can buy a house a little bit less, probably 10% less than you could have bought one 90 days ago. You have the chance to actually get the house now. So there's that. Interest rates, bouncing, 5.25%, 5.5%, somewhere in there. I've seen some at 6. Won't lie to you. It just depends on what day you lock. Do you guys know I spent many years in the mortgage business? Yeah. That will keep you up at night. I'll tell you what, playing the market. So anyways, but whatever, because all the interest you pay, you're going to write it off. Okay. And then just know in 2 years, you're going to be able to refinance it. Rates are going to come back down. So, you might pay a bit of a premium on the cost of funds for the next 2 years, but if you got a good deal on the house, or you got market value on the house. I don't think there's any good deals. Okay. I'm not here to say that we're not busting. I've got clients call me, oh my God, there's a bust coming. We're not busting. We're just leveling out. Like, we could not maintain that insanity of a housing market. It wasn't maintainable. Right. So anyways, all of that being said, call me. Let's buy a house. Let's buy an investment property. James and I decided that we're going to buy 2 more houses. So I'm on the hunt right now. For investment properties, not for us. Unless he's not nice to me, and then I will send him to go live in one of those 2 houses that I'm going to buy in the next 30 days. But now's the time. And I feel like that there's been enough of a dip in the market that I feel comfortable going out and buying a couple of investment properties right now. So I'm going out to look at some today, because when I get it in my mind, I'm on the hunt. Oh, you watched it happen in the crypto market. Yeah. It's happening in every market. Like, don't even look at your 401ks. So depressing. But you know what I know is that money is safe in real estate, 1,000,000% safe in real estate. And even if you park your money, so this is what I told my husband the other night. I'm like, even if we just park our money in a couple more houses, even if they don't appreciate, which they will, okay, like, bad appreciation in my market is 15%. Like, kind of, because we've had up to 40%, right? But I don't think for a second that that's going to hold. But let's just say it's 15%. Okay, that's 15% a year that we're making on each of these investments, where I'm making 3% in the bank, right? And I'm able to take a hell of a lot of tax write-offs, and I can't take off any write-offs with the money in the bank. So why would I not take my money and go park it in more real estate? We've got kind of a lot of real estate, but we're going to buy more. And I'm going to, take the Grant Cardone playbook, and I'm not going to just let my money sit in the bank. In an inflationary market, Grant says cash is trash. And I agree. Cash is trash. So I'm going to get my cash out of the bank, and I'm going to put it so I'm going to get my cash out of the bank, out of a depreciating situation. Like, our money has devalued, I want to say 30%, because they've printed like 60% more money. Like, I'm pulling these numbers off the top of my head, but I'm somewhere in the ballpark on that. So in the last 2 years, they've printed more money. And so therefore that devalues the dollar, right? AKA inflation. So as the dollar devalues, okay, and then it sits in the bank and it earns below market rates at 3% or 2%, whatever you've got. And so then it sits in the bank and it just sits there and it goes dormant, and it gets worth less and less and less and less money. If you take that same money and you go buy a home, then that asset, which is the property, appreciates, okay, at a minimum of 15% a year in my market. You'd have to talk to somebody in your own markets. I can't speak to everyone's market. But it'll appreciate. So my money sits in that house. It appreciates 15% a year, probably more reality. But in my brain, as long as I can create a 15% deal, I'm good. 15% is my number. And there's nothing in this market where I live. Okay, I don't know about your market, but in my market, there's nothing that is under 15% where I'm looking to buy these 2 houses. Then I can start depreciating things. I can depreciate the roof. I can write off everything. I'm not going to give you all my tax strategies. I'm scared someone from the IRS might be watching. But anyways, it's a good tax game. Okay, it's a good tax game. It's a safe place to put your money. I don't know. There's just nothing bad about real estate. There really isn't. And now's the time where I feel like I can get in at, like, let's say it was here and it was dumb, and that's why I didn't play in the last year. But now it's kind of done this, like just a little, okay, and I'm good there. Could I wait longer and see if it's going to bottom out even more? I could, but I don't think it's going to bottom out that much more. And again, I'm banking on the appreciation. So that's my tip for the day, my friends. And get that money out of the bank. Cash is trash. Grant talks about go broke. Just go broke. Put all your money in real estate. I'm not quite there, but I am going to put a big surplus into real estate, because it makes 0 sense to have it sitting in the bank. And then I'm going to let somebody else pay me a crazy amount of money in rent to live in my houses. I mean, rents are at a all-time high, all-time high, and they're just going higher and higher and higher. And so I'm going to take advantage of that. And so that's just like my big tip for the day. Like if you're out there and you're sitting on some cash and you're just like, man, and I'm just gonna, depending on what you want to do with it, right? If you're renting, you can get in for 3.5% down on an FHA loan. But if you're an investor like me, you have to have 25% down, 20 to 25. We always put 25% down because you get better rates and you get better fees from the bank. And we have a mortgage company, so we do that. We do this for a living. So but it's just worth it, and it's great to take, and then I mean, then there's the whole aspect when I sell them in 2 years to do 1031 exchanges if Joe Biden doesn't take that away from us. But to do 1031 exchanges, and what you're doing there is you're exchanging like properties. So when I sell these two properties in 2 to 3 years and I make 15% compound, and then I take those monies and I put them into an exchange account. And I've been doing a ton of 1031 exchanges lately. I feel like I'm an expert on them. I put that into the exchange account, and then I go identify another property. I buy the property with those funds. Guess what? I pay no taxes. I pay zero taxes on the gain. Now, that's only for investment properties. I've had people say, well, I'm going to sell my homestead and I want to do the same thing. Well, you can't do that. And I even had one person say to me, well, then I'll just, I never claimed it as my home. Like, I don't want to hear anything that you're doing that's not the way you're supposed to do it. If you have investment properties and you hold them and you have a gain and you identify another property prior to selling and closing on the properties, on the initial properties, you can reinvest that gain into a 1031 exchange and take that money and go buy the next property. And it's just the gift that keeps on giving. And we're not paying Uncle Sam one dime, at least not right now. So these are all reasons to get into the market. I'm telling you how to shelter your money. I'm telling you how to have a gain on your money. It's not at risk, in my opinion. It really isn't. It's not at risk. Real estate is not at risk. It appreciates. You can tax shelter it through 1031 exchanges. There's like no reason not to jump in this market. So if you're out there and you've been on the fence, go get in it. Just like I said at 10X Ladies, when you lack courage, do it scared. But there's nothing to be scared of about today's real estate market. So jump in. I got to go out and look at a couple houses right now. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.